Hello, and welcome to Arriva PSI Fundamentals Training Video Series Volume 4. In this video, you'll be shown how to complete the new starter process by adding the rest of the relevant new starter information into PSI. For more information on this process, please access ArrivaNet, click on PSI Training Information, and then click on PSI User Manual. Please note this video is over 18 minutes long, so plan your work accordingly if you need to watch the entire thing. So let's get started. So on the Fluid home page, click on the guided navigation tile. You'll be brought to this page. Make sure that you're on number 1, New Starter, and click Start Guided Navigation. First thing is to add the employee ID number that was created in the new starter process. Also, just make sure that the name does appear. This is important. Now what we need to do is all of these values can be added to the new starter process. All these different functionalities are brought to bear in PSI to create the new starter process, but just for the purposes of this video, we're going to be saying yes to several and no to certain others. So we're going to be saying no to add dependent details, no to disability details, no to add badge or company property details, no to add certificates of health and safety, no to visual test, no to adding audio test results, and no to drug and alcohol test results. Yes to create open country profile, and no to letter. Again, double check that your employee ID number is up at the top and entered. And when ready, click OK. What you'll see on the left-hand side is the status bar for guided navigation. It's called Task Progress, and also all the questions that you said yes to for guided navigation will show up in order on the left-hand side. First things first, so now we can add a preferred name for this employee. And for this instance, James Jones would like to be called Jimmy, so we're going to add the name data. Click on Name Data, then click on Edit Name, and add the appropriate name that the employee would like to be called. Again, this James would like to be called Jimmy, and he goes by Jimmy. It's not his legal name, but that's what he goes by, so we'll enter that just to have a record of this, and hit Refresh Name, and then click OK. Once that's in, click OK again. So whenever you do a process in guided navigation, it's important to click Save, and as you see, the taskbar is lit up to be one of 8. And then you'll click Next. So it's always good to click Save. It's actually important to click Save and then click Next whilst you're in guided navigation. So now we're in the bank account details, and in Bank ID, that's basically your sort code. So you will click on the relevant bank, or you can enter the sort code, and then add the account number. And then the account name, the name that appears on the account. Once you've done that, you can click Save. We're making progress. Now click Next. Okay, now we're going to add the emergency contact details. So first things first is add the contact name of the person that your employee designates to be their emergency contact. Click on primary contact, and then choose the relationship to the employee. As you can see, there's quite a large drop-down list. So click the appropriate value for that relationship to the employee. In this instance, Sally Jones is the spouse of Jimmy Jones. What you can also do here is click the same address as employee. And that information comes over from when you added the employee as part of the new starter process. And typically the contact phone could be the same because you can click same phone as employee, but in this instance it's not, so there are other numbers that you could add in the other numbers tab. So click the phone type. In this instance, Sally's adding a private mobile, and enter the correct number. Once you're done with that, you can click Save. And that's how you add in emergency contact details. Again, after hitting Save, do click Next. Now, identification data. So you have the employee's passport. You will click on the country the employee is from, and also their citizenship status. This is important for not only Arriva record keeping, but DB record keeping. So this field is very important to update and have accurate. Here's all the relevant information for their passport. On the tab above, also if someone's under a special work permit or visa, you have the ability to add that information here, and also all of the relevant information and supporting documents that may come with that. And you can even add the employee photo. And that would come here. In this instance, we will now hit Save and move forward to the next step is parallel work experience. So click Next, as we've done. And I'm just want to highlight that this is where you could add, if your employee were to divulge that they had other work experience, the name is a little misleading. For this instance, for Arriva, the prior work experience would not be CV or resume information. It's just if someone has a secondary job. And this is also to capture information for WTD purposes. Just going to give an example here. If you hit Save, in this instance, it did not move forward, so we're going to hit Mark Complete. So if there's any time under guided navigation, if you want to move past a page, you can hit Mark Complete, and it will have the status go forward. So next, we'll click on and add the information for driving license details. And this is a different functionality than we've shown before. So instead of finding an existing value, we need to add a new value. We need to create a brand new person profile for Jimmy Jones. So click on Add a New Value, especially when this is a new starter process, and click Add. And what you'll have to do, which might be a little bit confusing, is to add the employee ID number of the employee you're working on. Even though you're in guided navigation, you need to add the employee number ID again. And the profile type that you need to add is the only value there, person. Now you've just created a person profile for this employee, and the only tab that you will use at the moment for this instance is driver license. So you have driver license and also driver license category. Click on Add New Driver License. Click on the magnifying glass and choose UK Standard Driving License. obviously adding the value, the valid from and valid to dates from the information you get from the driver license. Date consent given is not relevant, so you don't have to add that. It is there, but it's not relevant. And then add the type in the free text space license number. Issuing location, issuing authority are there, but not necessary at this point. And also with this specific driver license, this is where you would add any endorsements that are divulged or that you would got from a third party on your driving license. So as you can see, there's an endorsement, and you can click on the magnifying glass and pick the endorsement. You can also add the reason for the endorsement. And then you can also enter notified by. As you can see here, you can put third party or the employee notified you of their current endorsements. And valid from and valid to on this particular endorsement, you can enter here. And of course add the points that are associated with this endorsement. Once you're ready, you can click OK. And then click OK again. So now we've added the license. You can see the valid from and valid to and the license number in this field, this data row. And with categories, like a Cat D category, this is where you would add this. All the categories that are on a driver's license, this is where you would add these. So for this instance, I'm going to just add the Cat D license for a bus driver. And you're going to associate it with the driver license that you added earlier, the UK standard driving license, and also the valid from and valid to for this category. Ready? Click OK. And now you have a driver license and a driving category. And you can add as many as you need. To add more categories, you would just click on the Add a New Driver License category. Similarly, to add other licenses, Add New Driver License, and hit the plus sign up next to those titles. When you're ready, click Save, and then Next. So at this time, this is the physical exam, and we're using this functionality just to mark down only for the pre-employment exam before an employee starts at Arriva. There's quite a bit of more functionality in PSI regarding all sorts of different physical exams, but for this instance and for these purposes at this time, we're just going to be using the physical exam to mean the exam type be pre-employment. Once you do that, click on the exam titles. And there are a lot of different boxes and fields here, but all you'll need to look at is pass, fail, and basically recording a pass or a fail for this employee. Once you're done with that, you click Save. Moving right along. Then we'll click Next, as we've done already. This brings us to our last bit for guided navigation new starter, and that is the open country profile. Similar to adding a person profile we did to create the ability to add a driver license, we will add a new value for the open country profile for this employee. Click Add when you're ready. And as you can see, we have to add the employee ID one more time. And profile type will only be the only one there, Arriva Open Country Profile. Once you've created this is just an area that is a specific customization for Arriva and will be used at a later time. So it's most important at this time, at the time that this video was produced in late 2015, that we just need to create these values for this employee. And then you can come into this functionality quite a bit later with more training. So once you're ready, click Save. And now you'll see that all of the tasks have been completed. Everything's been saved. And now you can hit Process Complete. The entire guided navigation process for New Starter is complete. That's the time you would feel be best to do Process Complete for this specific process. This has been Arriva PSI Fundamentals Training Video Series Volume 4, Guided Navigation New Starter. For more information on the entire PSI process and rollout, including training information and materials, constantly check back on Arriva.net under PSI Training Information. Thank you very much.